You mean to tell me you and your man been together and y'all still ain't got no kids? What y'all waiting on? Girl, you 33 years old. You don't want to be like Sarah and be 90 having no kids. What you gonna do, chase them around in your wheelchair? Girl, bye. You think I'm finna be 40-something years old pushing out a baby? I am so glad I got my kids out the way when I was 12. Now I'm grown and I can do what I want to do and live my life. I feel sorry for you. Girl, now God's gonna take care of you. Why you worried about that? Y'all need to just go ahead and have kids. What's taking y'all so long? Listen here. If I was with you and you didn't give me no kids, I would have been gone 20 years ago. You know what? You want to be 33 and not have no kids and have your babies when you're 40, that's on you. That's on you. But I'm not going to be waiting for no babysitter for you when we supposed to be living our life and traveling. Girl, for real. So you really want to have a baby at 33 years old? What's wrong with you? You supposed to did that back in your 20s. Oh, wow. That's awesome. But what about the baby, though?
Are y'all gonna have any babies soon? Do you want to have babies soon? I mean, are you guys gonna do it? I mean, are you guys gonna start doing it? I mean, we've been waiting forever. I mean, you guys have only been married for like 5 years and you guys haven't not produced any kids. I mean, what's going on? Are you guys gonna do it? Are you 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 gonna do it? What's up?
Girl, don't let nobody rush you to have kids. Wait as long as you can, girl. Because guess what? When you get them, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. Girl, you ain't got no kids? Your lockdown game must be strong, okay? You must be clink, clink. Girl, let me tell you this. You have a kid at 35, you gonna have some problems. Your breasts and everything, you just gonna have some problems. What? No, let's talk about you having kids. Let's talk about that. And then we can talk about something. Until then, we ain't talking about nada. When you get kids, you will understand. Don't worry about it. It'll happen for you someday. Oh, you had a loss? I'm so sorry. Here's a picture of my kids. Well, my mom had kids when she was 40, so I guess there's still hope for you. Honestly, you might as well give it up because, girl, after 30, your body just goes to shiggity. Girl, when you go to the school for your kid, they're going to be like, who grandmama is that? I know you don't want to be no grandma having no kids. You might as well just go ahead and get it over with. I want grandbabies. Can you guys, hurry up, please, for grandma? Man, listen, if you ain't ready for no kids, don't have none, but your biological clock is ticking, so I'm going to need y'all to get on that. What's a biological clock? Your biological clock ticking what? Time away for to do what? For you to have kids, for you to get me, my niece, and my nephew. Girl, they say labor is harder after you turn 30, 35. And I'll be damned if I be 40 pushing out a baby. That's just not gonna happen. I am done. You hear me? Clipped, snipped, and snapped. Girl, I ain't gonna say no. Never mind. No. It's none of my business. No. It's none of my business. I'm good. Oh, I mean, okay, since you asked. When y'all gonna have some kids? Oh, I heard that you guys were doing IVF. How's that going for you? Any kids yet? So, wondering minds want to know, are you and your spouse thinking maybe that you guys will have some kids anytime soon? Anytime? We just want to know. That's all. Hey y'all, this is Shanti coming to you with another video here on my channel with ShantiJaySpeaks. I just hit my phone, so I'm going to turn it back. There it is. And so today I want to talk about age. I just turned 33 years old on January the 6th of 2021. And yes, happy birthday to me. Thank you. So I was a little slackish on my video making and everything like that. So I am here today to talk about age. And what I want to dive right into was the fact that everybody always make like a big deal about a certain age to have kids and all that, which I get it. I understand that nobody wants to like be old and have kids, and they want to be able to enjoy life with their child and see their grandchildren and see their children get married and things like that. What I want to say on this channel today is that a lot of women think that we have like this biological clock that starts ticking at like 25. We compare ourselves to other people, other marriages, other relationships, and with that we say, oh, she had a baby by 25. Well, or she was married by 25, she had a baby by 28, they had their second child by 30, and they're living the dream. I am 33 years old, I am married with no kids, so go figure. So age is a big factor in the fertility world, and the reason why I say that is because the cutoff age is 46, and a lot of times we feel like, man, I need to hurry up. Man, I need to get going. Man, I need to have a baby. Man, I need to find a mate. Man, I need to do this thing. I need to, I need to produce. I need to reproduce. And we are in such a hurry. And I find like 25 years old, 26, 27, 28, we find ourselves trying to, be engaged or be married because we're on this fast track to having a family, right? Problem is, it doesn't happen that way for everybody. Some people can't just lay down and just have, sex with their mate and then boom, voila, a baby. It just doesn't happen like that for some of us. For me, it did happen like that kind of, but the ending process was not the best with the ectopic pregnancy. However, the cutoff age is 46 for anyone that wants to seek help in fertility. Some clinics may go past that, but I know where I work, the cutoff age is 46. In other countries, they may go past that. They may look at your ovarian reserve. They may look at your fallopian tubes. They may look at your uterus. If everything is healthy, I've seen women have natural pregnancies at the age of 50. So it's almost like you gotta you have to really think about your life and what you want from it. And don't let anybody just like challenge you as far as like asking you and making you feel like you're pressured to rush and to have a baby. A few key things I want to discuss, and it's not just about age. Yes, age is very important. Yes. I get it. But what I want to stress is that 20 to 35, that window is a window of opportunity. 20 to 35, and which I say 35 is because at 35 they say that there are some high risk factors that tie into the age at 35 and up. But from 35 on down, you have time. You don't have to rush. You can enjoy your life. You can travel. You can see the world. You can enjoy your mate, learn your mate. And then when you guys are together on wanting to bring a child in the world, that is when it'll be the right time for you guys to bring a child into this world. A lot of people want to get it done, and then they don't live their life because they had a child so young and they spent their whole life just working to provide for their child. And in fact, some people are saying that 30 is the new 20 when it comes to having a baby. In fact, in your 30s, they say it's the appropriate time for you to have a child because you've already lived out your college experiences. You've already more than likely traveled with your girlfriends or with your friends, and you've already pretty much got a career goal set in mind, or you already have a career established already by the age of 30, which you at least should. And so the stability of being able to raise a child is better and is with the odds of being in your 30s. Now, there are some age factors that determine some health risk and health factors. So above age 35, you are considered high risk, only because anything can happen as far as the baby is concerned at any trimester. So when we talk about age, the reason why it's good to have a baby at a younger age is because the snapback game is real. Let's just say that. Snatchback is real. Far in your 20s, far greater than any other age. You can snap back like that. Your body snatches back. Everything just snaps back into place. But at 20, 21, 22, all the way up to 29, you may be a little unstable. You may be a little unstable. You may be, just thinking about yourself. You may only want to think about yourself. And granted, some people do get pregnant when they're in their 20s and sometimes younger than that. And it is a struggle for those ladies. If you ask them in all of the stories, which I have talked to women that were teenage moms and women that were pregnant at a young age, they had significant issues in finance, instability, and finding somewhere to go, and childcare and babysitting and different things like that. Some people who had families had a little bit better of a break, but others that did not have too much help had a real struggle when it came to having a baby at an early age because they didn't have things really set in motion or set into place. So when we can talk about a 30-year-old or a 30-plus-year-old, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. It becomes a little bit more challenging to get pregnant as the percentage drops some. What I do want to say is, don't stress. If we got to age 46, that's if we want to get medical help. But naturally, we can try all the way up to the age of 35 or 40. And if we don't get any success, after a year or 2 years, it is said that you should seek medical help and seek a fertility doctor. The problem for me is I don't want another ectopic pregnancy, and I would much rather go through a fertility doctor just so that they're clear that my other fallopian tube is not blocked and I can go home and try naturally. But if it is blocked, I would definitely want to seek medical attention because I just don't want to have another ectopic pregnancy. So when it comes to age, girls, if you are 20, 29, calm down. Calm down. You have plenty of time. You hear me? Plenty of time. If you are between the ages of 30 and 35, now it's probably time for you to get going with things so that you can be able to see if you can do it naturally, if you need a little help, if you need a little push. And sometimes we don't need to go straight to IVF. Sometimes we can do timed intercourse, which is basically the doctor will give you a shot and tell you at this specific day and time, go home and have sex with your mate, and then people get pregnant that way. If that doesn't help after so many tries, or if that doesn't work after so many tries, we move on to IUI, which is the sperm being washed in the lab. A man produces his sperm, give it over to the lab. The lab washes the sperm, take out all of the bad sperm. The sperm that has two heads, two tails, the sperm that is swimming in circles, the sperm that's like this and not going anywhere. It's really cool to look at it under a microscope, and I will try to get that on my channel sometime in the near future so that you guys can see that. They are very active, very busy, very fast. But there are some sperm that just don't make it because they won't be swimmers, and they're not swimmers, and either they're defective, have two heads or two tails, like I said before. And so they wash all of those out, leaving all of the strong swimming sperm, the sperm that they see under a microscope that's shooting, just swimming. And so they take those sperm, only those sperm, and they use a catheter, and they insert the catheter through the woman's cervix in the vagina, and then they push the semen, the sperm through, in hopes that with the timed ovulation, that when the egg drops, the sperm will already be in there, in place, ready to go. It takes the sperm approximately 3 days to swim upstream. So when the egg is dropping and the sperm is meeting, the hope is that the IUI will allow them to connect and they will get pregnant that way. And then going forward, the hope is not to get a period, because if you get a period, that pretty much means that the egg has decided to wipe itself out, and now you have to start over for another cycle. If that does not work, we have other options in fertility. We have implantation, IVF, and pretty much they make sure that the baby is developing before they insert it. And so the baby is actively growing in a dish, and they insert it into the woman's womb, directly inside of the uterus. The hope is that the baby clamps on to the uterine walls and embeds itself, and this is called implantation. So the hope is that the baby implants itself and continues to grow. They know going in that it's not a full possibility, but that they will have kids, but they are in hopes that this will be more successful than any other thing that they have done in the past. So when it comes to age, it's better to do it young, it's better to do it younger, but there is no rush for it. In fact, Sarah in the Bible was 90 years old, and she laughed at God because he told her that he was going to give her a baby, and after wanting it so long, she just was like, I'm not gonna have a baby. I'm old. I'm old in age. God just overlooked me. I'm never gonna do it. And so he sent an angel to tell her that she was gonna have a son, and she laughed. And it reminded me of me, because when I hear something from God and it's like something that I've tried and I failed at before, I do give a little chuckle, like, yeah, like, okay, sure. Not that I doubt him for a second. Don't get me wrong. Not for a second do I doubt. It's just in your own mind, you begin to process what didn't work. And the only thing that you could do is laugh to keep from crying. So in Sarah's situation, she had wanted a baby for so long. In fact, she had her husband go lay with a maid, and they end up having a baby. Her husband, Abraham, end up having a baby with Hagar, their servant. And the crazy thing is, Sarah set it up. Abraham really didn't want to do it because he already knew, like, God doesn't lie. He will keep his promise. He told him he'll be the father of many. So he's wondering, like, why do I have to go and lay with Hagar, our servant maid? Why can't I just trust God and we have our own kid? But Sarah couldn't wait. She was impatient. And that's what I wanted to stress. A lot of us with this situation, we become impatient. And we have to wait on the right time, and we have to wait on God. God is the giver and the taker of life. So we have to wait on him to be able to bless us with his blessing. A lot of times we're like, God, why you ain't giving it to us? What are you doing? You see what I want so bad. And God's just like, it's just not time yet. It's just not time yet. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you as far as your uterus and your fallopian tubes, but it's not time yet. And if he's the giver and taker of life, he will give life when it's time. So I strongly encourage you guys to go read this story. It is like, wow, it's mind-blowing. It's like, God got some real good stories in the Bible, and they're actually true. And so her age, though, that's what I want to stress. She was 90 years old, 90-something years old. Can you imagine being 90 pushing out a baby? And back then, there was no medication. It was straight delivery, straight. So when I say that it can happen, if God wants you to have a kid, no matter what you do or what you try not to do, you will have a kid. So don't worry about your age. Don't worry about trying to have a baby before your biological clock starts. I mean, technically, the biological clock, if there was a thing, it pretty much won't start till about your 40s. I don't know, different women are, different families have different things that they go through. So if your mom, let's say, didn't have menopause, so she was like 42, 43, chances are you might experience the same thing. You might be a little bit earlier and you might be a little bit later, but around the same time as our mothers who started menopause. Usually it is said that we will begin to start menopause around the same time. So if your mom was an early menopause lady, I would strongly suggest that you do, eventually get started with family planning and trying to do this thing, because a lot of times we don't try to have babies early in life. And then when we try to have babies, we find out that we have a problem. And then when we find out that we have a problem and that we need assistance, we're well off in age because we've tried to, get married, get our education, create a solid foundation, create stability. And most times by the time we do that, we're at like 35, 36 years old. Some people go on to get their masters until they, and they're not until, they're like, I'm like, my mouth is just like, but they're like 40 years old and they're going back to get their masters. And it's like, you won't be done for another couple of years, maybe 42, 43. And then they come and say, I'm ready now to have a kid. And then they lay down with their husband and they find out, what's wrong with me? I'm ovulating. I know I'm ovulating. I took my ovulation kits. I tracked it on my flow period tracker. What's going on? And then now they are in a rush because the cutoff age is 46 and they came to the clinic when they were 43. And to get all of the things and all of the labs and everything in place, it takes a couple of months to do. So now they're frantic, now they're panicking, now they're 44 years old and they're wondering if it's ever going to happen for them. And then they turn 45 and then they're worried, and then they turn 46 and that's the cutoff. So now they're like, getting depressed and sad and anxious. But stress on the body when it comes to trying to conceive it's not good. It's not good. We don't really recognize the stress that we're putting ourselves under. We don't recognize the fact that we're taking the fun out of making babies because we're like, I'm ovulating, let's go, let's do it today, let's go. And sometimes we forget the romance, we forget all of the things that tie into that. We forget that we're not married, some of us. And we go on to try to have children first. And then we end up being single parents because one of us, I'm not going to say the woman or man, but one of us wasn't ready to have a kid. And they end up leaving because it wasn't something that you guys really discussed together. And if it was discussed, like, you want to have a baby? Yeah, I want to have a baby. That's not really a discussion. What are the responsibilities? What are you going to have to do to set things in place for this baby to be here? What are you going to do as far as parenting? How are you going to parent? What are you going to, what are the beliefs? What are you going to teach your kid? Are you going to believe in spanking? Do you not believe in spanking? How will you punish? Just to have a talk and just to see where each other's mind and head is, because a lot of times we find that men say that they want to have a baby, or they're like loving on us and they're like, yeah, I want you to have my baby. And a woman's like, oh yeah, I do, I want to have your baby, whatever. And then next thing you know, the baby's born, and not even a year later, sometimes a couple of months, the dad is not anywhere to be found. The dad doesn't want to be involved. The dad is like shying away from the mom. He already has another girlfriend because he just was not ready to have a kid, even though he said it while he was, having sexual encounters, or even though he said it while you guys were pillow talking. The mindset of a man is way, way behind a female's mind. So if it took us 22 years to mature, that means that the man is still maturing. If it took us 25 years to mature, that means the man that we're with is probably going to take him a little bit longer, but it's going to be behind you. So he's going to be immature all the way up until he reaches a certain age and learns a few things with life. But women, we are trained from birth to be structured in this way. So be mindful of who you have kids with. Don't think about age when it comes to trying to just hurry up and have a baby because you really want to have a baby by the right person. It's not good for you to have a baby with somebody and they're not even supportive. They're not accountable. They're not reliable. You look up and you can't even, they're not answering the phone for you when you call. You got to call several times and they still won't answer the phone for you. It could be an emergency with the baby, and if they're not answering the phone for you now, 9 times out of 10 they won't answer for you then. We also find that when women rush to have a kid, that they're left alone to be single mothers. We all know that, our parents say, a man, when he have a baby with you, you're going to be the one to take the baby home. That's true. And it's not so much that you're going to be the one to take the baby home because you want to. It's going to be in your mental that you have to. Because you're not going to want to have your baby somewhere else where you're not as a mother. So with that being said, you automatically will have your baby more. So you automatically will have more sleepless nights. Especially if you and the baby's father don't stay together, are not married. He can go home whenever he feel like it. So let's say the baby is just crying out of control and you're like screaming at him to try to you're frustrated because you're trying to get him to help. And he's like, I don't need this. And he just leaves out of the door and goes home. That's a situation that you don't need. If you do want to have a baby, regardless of age, please, please, please make sure that it is with a person that you can count on. Please. Age, I would much rather have someone that's supporting me with our child than to be with someone that feels like they only need to support me with money, or to be with someone that feels like, oh, she got it, she a strong woman, she can handle it by herself. So please be mindful of that. Please be mindful of the fact that the rush, I get it, but there is no need. Because at the end of the day, if God is going to bless you with a baby, he's going to bless you with a baby regardless. I know a lot of people are probably going to have something to say about what I'm saying right now, but this is truth. This is fact. If we could lay down and have babies on our own without God, we would have already did it already. Especially, I know the ones that are with me as far as fertility is concerned, we would have already did it 10, 11 times over. We would have been probably having 12 kids by now if we didn't need God to do this. So I want to stress, don't stress. The cutoff age for fertility in most places is the age 46. Think to yourself, how old am I? If you say anything with a 2 in front of it, calm down. If you say anything with a 3 in front of it that doesn't have a 5 on the end of it, calm down. If you find that you're 35, calm down. Why? Because of that stress. You cannot stress while trying to conceive. And then if you're 35, just understand you have all the way to 46 to get this done. Okay? My women that are above 40 and you were told to go and get an education first, get your life established, get everything done, set up, get married, have a good career, and all of these things, and you waited for a long time to have children and now you're having problems, I would say pray about it, and I would seek help immediately. If you have been trying and you're 40 years old and you've been trying for 6 months and you have not had a success, I would seek medical attention, medical treatment. Why? Because the cutoff age is 46. Not 46 and you can still do IVF, 46 as in your 46th birthday. So technically you only have 40 to 45 and a half to get this done. So I wouldn't wait any longer. If you have even been trying for 3 months and you're 40 years old or above and you have not been successful, I would seek medical attention. There's nothing wrong with going to see a doctor to get pregnant. In fact, where I work, I thought that the fertility world was like a little small world for women who just really had issues with their uteruses and things like that. No, this world is so big. The fertility world is so big, and it's with all kind of races: black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Yes, Mexican. Yes. Even though we have a myth that they are fertile. They are very fertile. But some of them have trouble, and they do come to the fertility clinic seeking help. It's a lot of women that have had trauma in the reproductive area. There's a lot of women that have lowered cervixes, and that can cause painful sex. So a lot of times women may not want to have sex because it's too painful for them, and they would much rather go to a doctor just to have them do it artificially versus having to actually lay, because it's not pleasurable to them. It actually is very painful for them. And so those women, I would suggest going to a fertility doctor as well. Be mindful though that if you can't have sex, and I strongly say this, and this is just my opinion, if you can't have sex, pushing out a 4 to 8 pound, maybe 10 pound baby may be a challenge for you. I mean, granted, a man's penis size can be bigger than a 10 pound baby, I'm sure. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that when you do go to the doctor, that it's still going to be just as probably painful as you laying down to actually be pleasured to have a baby, only because the cervix does not like things going through it, as far as like catheters and pokey things like that, as far as the shots and things that you may have to take. Those come with needles in which you'll have to stick it in your fatty parts. Most people use the stomach area to take their shots, but you have to take shots. You have to get blood drawn every day. You have to get ultrasounds, something stuck up there anyway, every day, just to see what your ovaries are doing, and if you're ovulating, if you have ovulated. And so it's a process. So I would strongly suggest getting your vitamins in, Women, even if you are age in your 20s, even if you're 20 anything, start taking vitamins. And not just talking about prenatal vitamins, I'm talking about vitamins. So prenatal vitamins are good. Please take them if you plan on conceiving. Start taking prenatal vitamins, I want to say at least 6 months to a year before you even start trying to conceive, because you want that womb to be healthy. You want everything to be there and ready to go to give your baby the maximum nutrients that it needs. But yeah, you just gotta take your vitamins. So what I'm taking right now, I'm taking vitamin C for scar tissue, and it's a healing agent. Since I had surgery with the ectopic, I feel like my insides, since I can't see them, it may be some scar tissue there, and so I was suggested to take vitamin C. I was also suggested to take vitamin D because my vitamin D had dropped and it was very low. I also am taking iron supplements as well as my prenatal vitamin. So, and folic acid. Folic acid is just something that just helps with the whole process as far as fallopian tubes and all of that. I held off on the DHEA because I didn't need that. But closer to the time that I'm going to start back trying to conceive, I'm going to start taking DHEA as well. So yeah, age is a big factor, but it's not as big as we think. We think that because everybody tells us that we need to hurry up, that we don't have time, but you do. So with that being said, I'm sorry I'm a little ratchet in my hair. Everything is just like all over the place, but I had to come on here to tell you guys about that. A lot of girls, they're like 25 years old, like, oh, my biological clock is ticking. Girl, no, it's not. You're fine. Even me, I say like, oh, I need to get started. I just turned 33. I'm getting up there. I need to get started. And honestly, I did get started. But I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I am not frantic anymore like I was for the first time. I am not on it as far as tracking and ovulations and things like that. I just feel like at this point, if it doesn't happen for me in the next year or so, I will go to the fertility clinic and get started with that again. But for the most part, I want to try on my own once more and see if, I can do that. Because had I would have went to the fertility clinic first, I would have known that I had blocked tubes or a blocked tube or whatever the case may be. I only went for a consultation in which they told me that my blood work was fine, my ultrasound was fine, everything was good to go. They didn't see any blockages when I had my initial exam, and so they told me just to go home and just try. And I did, and I got pregnant. My baby was actually really, really big. I know I say a lot. I need to stop doing that. But anyway, so my baby was really big for a 4.5, 5-week baby. When they removed the tube, the baby still had a heartbeat. So for me, that was very dramatic and traumatizing for me to know that the baby was still alive when they took my tube out, and that the baby was actually fighting and trying to actually stay alive, and for it to be in that tight spot for so long and still be alive. That baby was a fighter. And I believe that if it was implanted in the right spot, in the right place, that my baby would be here today. But I can't sit here and dwell on what would have happened or what could have happened. I just gotta move forward, and I would never forget. I would never forget the due date. I would never forget my baby. I would never forget my child. At the same time though, I can't have that stress on me when I'm trying to go into this again. So I strongly suggest that we all take in consideration what we want to do. Pray about it. If we have issues where it's taking us a little bit longer than expected, go see a doctor. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And then afterwards, decide what you want to do. Because honestly, IVF is very, very expensive. Very expensive. And a lot of times people, they don't have the money to do that. Even though they want the baby, but you have to think about now, you're going to be in debt from trying to have the baby, and then you're going to be in debt from trying to raise the baby, and then to have a baby without any conditions or special needs or anything like that. They said the average spend for a parent is $233,000 over the child's lifetime. And we're not talking about lifetime as in like, oh, like to their like 50, 60. No, we're talking about just childhood. From the age of birth to maybe end of college years. $233,000. And that's including, or not, maybe not including college, but I'm sure it is. But if not, the number will go even higher with college. So we're looking at $250,000, maybe even more depending on the school. So please be mindful of the fact that wanting a baby is one thing, but taking care of that baby is another thing. And we don't want to be in positions where we have a baby and we can't take care of it. And we have so many instances and so many issues with that right now. We have people that drop their babies off at the hospitals. We have people that drop their babies off at the fire stations, and they end up coming to the hospital to get the baby checked out and make sure they're okay. And then we have to figure out how to put them on an adoption list and all of that. Please be mindful of the fact that if you lay down and open your legs, that there is a possibility that you can have a baby. And if you're not ready, then you shouldn't be opening your legs. And if you are opening your legs, you should be protecting yourself to where you are not going to conceive a baby before the time is right for you. So that's it. That's all I got. I was just sitting here just thinking about it. And I'm like, man, I just turned 33, last week. And what is my next topic? And it was about age. And just know that there is still time. Just know that you can do it. Just know that there is nothing too hard for the Lord. Nothing too hard for God. Nothing too hard for God. So keep your hope. Keep your prayers. This is 2021. This is the season of already won. WON 2021. We won the victory already. So with that being said, keep your hope right here in front of you. Right here in front of your mind, in front of your face, in front of your eyes. Stay focused on it. If you want something, you have to focus on it. And if you focus on it long enough, you can achieve it. Until next time, guys. See ya.